Welcome back to Tucked In Wizards, guys. My name is Aidan, and I'm here with Ben.
Welcome back, guys. We're finally here. It's the playoffs. The Wizards obviously didn't make it, but, we're going to be doing our predictions. We did it last year. If you want to see how accurate we were last year, I guess I'll put the little video thing in the top. But yeah, you want to just jump right into it? We're recording this before the play-in's officially over, but the 1-8 matchup.
It's gonna matter.
We'll talk a little bit about each matchup, but for the most part, spoilers, we're going to have the Cavs and Thunder moving on.
Yeah.
So you want to go in order, like 1-8, 1-8, 2-7, 2-7?
I think that's good. I think, first one's going to be pretty obvious.
We'll start with the Cavs and either the Hawks or Miami. Is there any challenge that the Cavs will face with either of these teams in any capacity?
I don't think so. My prediction is that the Heat are going to beat the Hawks, and then they're going to lose in 5 to the Cavs. I don't really see much more. There's no Jimmy. Tyler Herro's good, but it's not the same Heat team that upset everyone to make the finals.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We saw firsthand. First of all, those 3 play-in games outside of Memphis were horrible. You could really tell who has playoff experience and who doesn't based on those games. The Hawks defense was really, really bad, and the Heat offense isn't good either. So it's like a weird thing where it's like if the Hawks make it, the Cavs are just going to run up the score. The Hawks are not going to stop them. If the Heat make it, the Heat are not going to be able to score at all.
Yeah.
We're going to see Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland both be pretty free.
Yep.
I don't think it's that crazy to say the Cavs are moving on.
No. I've got the Cavs in 5, 6 max.
Yeah, I would say that too. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a sweep as well.
Me too.
All right, let's do the 1-8 matchup in the West, I guess. Or do you want to do all East, all West? What are we doing?
Let's do 1-8 in the West. I think that's fun.
Okay, so we got OKC taking on either Memphis or Dallas. This is going to be more interesting than the East because not that I think Memphis or Dallas is going to beat OKC, but I think it's going to be a more competitive series than the East, which I guess isn't saying much.
I don't think it's controversial to say that the Memphis Grizzlies and the Dallas Mavericks are both better than the Hawks and the Heat. So it's okay. But at the same time, the Thunder, in my opinion, are way better than the Cavs. So it's maybe it is a sweep because the Thunder are that good. But also, at the same time, experience comes into play. If Dallas makes it through, you have AD, Kyrie, all these guys who have made
Kyrie's not
runs.
Playing. I don't think
Kyrie's not playing? Oh, shit. I thought there was, maybe he might come back like Dame, but even if they don't have Kyrie, I think they can get a game, but I don't think they have any chance of winning the series against the Thunder.
It's similar to what OKC struggled with last season when they played Dallas. Outside of Luka, it is that the size of the Mavericks is a lot for OKC. OKC, obviously they have Hartenstein now, so that eases the pain a little bit, but you're not throwing Chet out there against AD Gafford and really expecting to be able to go toe-to-toe, body for body with them, which again, they have Hartenstein now, so a little different.
And there's no Luka. So
exactly, yeah. The big thing.
Difference.
No Luka. We're kind of... I think we both think the Mavs are going to win this game tonight against Memphis? I know we're both rooting for Memphis, obviously.
I think
for the Wizards fans that don't know, if Memphis wins this game, the Wizards get an extra first-round pick.
I think Dallas is going to win, but I'd put it 65-35. I think it's very possible that Memphis just blows them out or something. But then I also think it's possible Memphis kind of rolls over. I think it really depends on Jaw's ankle. Kind of rolled it last game. Yeah. Pretty rough. But if he's playing, they're fully healthy. I think
I'm worried about Edie versus AD.
Yeah.
Edie versus AD, Edie versus Gafford.
Like I said to you, Gafford's a big one. Gafford plays well against mismatches, but AD sometimes is weirdly passive against these guys with size but not a lot of defense. But it's also possible AD fouls out in the first quarter, that's kind of what I'm expecting.
Yeah, the Mavs experience just really we saw one of the things, and I was watching highlights from last year's playoffs as well, and one of the things that pointed out to me with the Mavs when they played the Kings and they dominated the Kings was PJ Washington in the corner 3, and he was getting the corner 3. Him and Clay were pretty much getting those for free last game. If Memphis gives those up, Dallas is going to win. But if Memphis can take those away, I think Memphis has a good chance. But again, you could always have. It's like the thing where I'm a little more confident in AD or Clay going crazy than I am in Ja getting help again in that magnitude that he got last game from Bane. And Jackson, I don't even know what his playoff performances are like.
Well, the thing is, like, the Warriors to me
I'm gonna
are the
move
most
OKC
experienced
on,
and best team
by the
out
way.
of out of all of those three. And the Grizzlies played them really well. Bane played really well, but Ja played. I mean, he rolled his ankle, but before that, he was playing pretty well. Jaren Jackson was kind of invisible. Like, the rest of the team didn't show up. Zach Edey had good stats, but he did not play well, in my opinion. If you just look at the game. So sure, like, some things went right for them. Desmond Bane was phenomenal, but at the same time, they were missing some of their usual supporting cast stuff. And I also think that Dallas is a worse team defensively than the Warriors.
But defense wins championships.
AD is better than anyone on the Warriors, at least. I'll give him that. He's better than Luka, but I just think that it really matters.
Yeah, I know we talked a lot about the play-in for this matchup, but SGA is such a mismatch in this series for anyone on either team that he's going to be almost impossible to stop, and then that's not to mention the supporting cast of the Thunder is way better. So we both have the Thunder moving on. Let's go 2-7 in the East.
2-7, yeah. I have the Celtics in 5, maybe a sweep. I like the Magic, but that play-in game versus the Hawks really raised very real questions to me about their offense right now. And the Celtics are really set up to just they're going to completely shut down Powell and Franz and make everyone else score. And so, like, Cole Anthony can do that, but a lot of the other players are not the best at scoring. They're better at defense. And I just think the Celtics are so good on offense, it doesn't really matter how good they are on defense. They play them well too, but it's different now.
Yeah, this will be a theme as we go through the rest of this video. When I do these predictions, I try to think, okay, which team is like more likely for the things they need to happen to win to happen. And for the Magic, I mean, they're missing a lot of players. They're missing Suggs, which is a huge piece in this series.
Yep.
And basically, for the Magic, they need Cole Anthony to be that third star, I'm going to say. They're missing Mo Wagner as well. They need Cole Anthony to be that third star. And I don't even know if, like, you're going to get Paolo and Franz games. So... Yeah. They play the Celtics well. I think they play them well when they're fully healthy. They're not fully healthy, unfortunately, and I think the Celtics are going to roll over them.
Yeah, I think they need a consistent 20 to 30 every night out of Cole to win, and I don't think he's going to be.
And I think even if they get that,
games,
we're talking they need to somehow get their 3-point shooting up from what is it, like 31% or something?
It's really bad,
because otherwise the Celtics are just going to outshoot them, as we saw all last playoffs. And
they better hope KCP remembers how to play basketball.
He's not.
That's a big thing. He will not. Corey Joseph. He's gonna be a big guy in this series.
I don't think he will. That was a disgusting backcourt they were throwing out. No offense to KCP and Corey Joseph, but when you're looking at the rest of the East, it's like, oh man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess Trey and Dyson couldn't take advantage of it. So, but. If the Magic are fully healthy, I think we're both still going Celtics, but we're saying, okay, this is going to be a closer series. But missing Suggs is the big thing in this series.
Yeah, and it's also like the Celtics play the Magic well, but like playoffs are different. And a team like the Celtics, who just got it done, they know how to do it. They're very 1 through 10 experienced in the playoffs extensively. Versus a young team who's kind of knocking on this door for the first time with injuries all year. Like it's unfortunate for them, but it is tough. I think it's kind of a similar situation. It's kind of funny because the roles are sort of reversed, and the more experienced team isn't as talented as the Celtics. But in the 2-7 on the West, I think it's kind of similar, where you have a team like the Rockets. This is their first time in a position like this, top of the West. They're a very good, deep, young team, and they're fully healthy, which is good for them. But the Warriors have all the experience. They have Steph Curry, probably the best player in the series. They have Jimmy Butler now, who's even in the playoffs somehow still gets
amazing playing game.
Yeah, insane playing game. It's hard for me to root against the Warriors here. I think the league is really hoping we get Lakers Warriors second round, and we might. But I kind of want to go with the Rockets. I like the Rockets a lot. They're really
Yeah,
fun
well,
this year.
we could talk through this a little bit because I was before this because I was very torn on this series. I think it's going to be a very good series.
Me too.
Alperen Sengun does not have good games against the Warriors.
No,
at least
Draymond
not up to his
physically
standards.
Abuses him though, so it's a little.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He doesn't get away with that as much in the playoffs.
The Rockets are going to need Alperen Sengun to have a step up. They're going to need Jalen Green to play super well. And I mean, we're talking about the Rockets. This team has experience too. Like Fred VanVleet is super experienced in the playoffs. Dylan Brooks has his moments in the playoffs. Jeff Green, I'll say his moments. But Freddie and Jeff Green are the two big ones that are experienced. And while we may not see a lot of Jeff Green in this series, veteran leadership and all that. I think the big step up is we have to see, obviously, what Jalen Green does. If Jalen Green has a bad series, the Warriors are going to win. But I want to see the impact Amen Thompson has in the series. He's obviously new to the playoffs. And I'm curious. I want to see. I'm just going to look up the Rockets.
My problem right now with the Warriors and the Rockets series is that both of these teams are extremely inconsistent. And for different reasons. The Warriors are extremely inconsistent because Steph and Jimmy are old. And they can't do what they used to do every single night anymore. And the Rockets are inconsistent because they're super young and they're not used to being in this position.
Steven Adams is another one.
Steven Adams is a good one. But so I think it'll be interesting. I think we're gonna see like more blowouts in this series than some of the other close series, just because of like, oh, Steph's hot this game. Oh, Jalen Green's hot this game. It's a lot of kind of streaky shooters and stuff. And Steph isn't really a streaky shooter, but he kind of is now. He doesn't have like it's tough for him to keep chaining together those 30-plus point games like he used to do, like every playoff game, basically. I still don't really know who I want to go with.
I'm leaning Rockets just because I think, one, again, we're talking about Amen Thompson. This guy is going to be the Steph Curry guy, right? They're going to run a lot of, people always do against the Warriors, a lot of box and one. And it's going to be Amen Thompson running around with Steph Curry. And he's one of the few guys that I think can do it, just based on his athleticism and his stamina during the season.
It's tough. I'm not sure. I think the Rockets are going to do this because Udoka has a really good defensive game plan usually. But you can't really guard Steph completely one-on-one because there are just going to be those double screens. You just can't.
Yeah, just screens.
So it's like, okay. Yeah, so I think there's going to need to be some help. I think he's not going to be the only one on Steph, of course. But I think the Rockets do have the personnel to pull that off, and I do think they can pull that off.
And another thing with the Rockets is they've been running this two big lineup throughout the season with Adams and Sengun, or Adams with Jabari Smith. Yes. And it's been working really well. I'm talking mainly Adams and Sengun because those are two, we're talking 2014 NBA basketball. And the Warriors are generally small. Looney's not that big, Draymond's not that big, so I think they could really
Who's even their center besides Looney? Is it Draymond?
It's Draymond, right? I don't know. He's been starting. So, I think... And Steven Adams, he's no slouch. He's no, slouch in the post. He can post up, he can score if they need him to. Obviously, he's not going to be, scoring 20 a night, but he can get you, 6 or 8 in the post if you need him to.
Yeah. I mean, he might be able to get 20 a night against this team.
He's not scoring 20 a night. This dude is an old
But I do think that's a glaring weakness with the Warriors. They just don't have a good center rotation, and even their starting center isn't really a center. Looney's, his skill set is good for a center, but he's small. He has a good. I think one of the things that's really strong for Looney as a center is he has a good center of weight, so it's hard to move him. But Steven Adams is one of those guys that everyone says doesn't fucking matter. He's just gonna move
it doesn't matter.
He's just huge. And the also, thing that I think is really good for the Rockets is they can go big, but they can also go small if they need to.
Jabari Smith.
So just having that versatility. Yeah, exactly. It allows you to do so many different little lineups. And Udoka's a good enough coach where he can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about this with the Nuggets and Clippers too. But the Rockets have the ability to throw so many different defensive looks on Jimmy Butler that, I mean, Jimmy Butler's a great player, but it's going to be harder for him to get going than if he's okay, I know who I'm going against. I think here's what I could do.
That is kind of the danger, though. That's the problem is you're focusing on it's pretty tough to guard both Butler and Steph completely and deny them the ball and all that stuff, so it's you kind of have to choose, and I think they will be choosing Butler. So I think Butler will actually get more opportunities than people might think in this series.
But even in their one-on-one
focused on
defense, I mean,
Steph.
you got Tari Eason you could throw on him to give him problems. You have Jabari Smith. You have, I mean, I know Amen Thompson's probably going to be on Curry a lot, but even if he gets a switch, like, there's not a lot. You can't really pick on a lot of dudes on the Rockets, and that's kind of
I'm
the
just not
biggest
sure
issue.
if that's something that matters to a guy like Jimmy. Like, sure, Tari Eason
Maybe he
just drive
doesn't,
on him and
but-
get free throws. Like, that's just kind of that's what he does.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, they're focusing on Steph, toss it over to Jimmy. He's just gonna drive on whoever's there and get some free throws or kick it back.
The
out
more
to
point is, like, they could focus on Steph, but not slouch on Butler. If like, they have the depth to do that, is kind of what my point is. Like,
I'm
where
just-
a lot of other teams, like, you have to focus on Steph. Okay, now Jimmy's not really guarded by someone who's that good, where with the Rockets, Jimmy will be guarded by someone who's probably a good to elite defender. One-on-one.
Yeah, I don't know if
If
I call
you
Tari
go-
Eason an elite defender yet, especially. against
Well,
a
we're
guy
looking
like
at
Jimmy.
Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Dylan Brooks. Like, these guys are pretty known to be really
They're
good
good.
defenders.
They're good for sure. But I'm just my thing is just
And you take the Grizzlies, for example, where they got a guy running around on Steph, and now Jimmy Butler's going one-on-one with Desmond Bane, and it's like, I don't know if I really love that.
No, it's better than the Grizzlies for sure, but I'm not sure, like, it's still going to be tough to execute, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to flawlessly execute it the whole time, so I think it will create opportunities for Jimmy. Maybe not as much against the Grizzlies, but there will be opportunities against those players. And also at the same time, you're going to have Freddie on the floor, you're going to have, I mean, maybe you don't have Freddie on the floor. We'll see if they just want to commit to defensive lineups.
No, you'll have Freddie on the floor, I'm sure.
You'll have Freddie on the floor. But there will be people on the Rockets that you can't target.
Yeah, we'll see
and
if they
Jimmy
can
is
get
really
those
good at that.
targets.
So we'll see.
So what's our final verdict? Are we going Rockets or
I think
Warriors?
Rockets.
'Cause
I think Rockets.
I think Rockets in 7, are we saying?
Yeah,
'Cause,
Rockets in 7.
The
I agree.
Warriors are going to make this a series, obviously. It's the Warriors. And we've seen young 2 seeds lose before, like
Yes.
we're talking Memphis.
Yes.
It's really close. Yeah, this is one of the closer series, but
I think it's
I'm
going to be
okay
the
with the
second
Rockets
best
pick.
series for sure. I think the East is kind of a wash. Maybe Knicks Pistons is good. Maybe Bucks Pacers is good. And then the West, I think there's some bangers.
yeah. All right, let's go 3-6 on the East. So that's Knicks, Pistons. Obviously, another very young team versus the Knicks. The Knicks have shown that in these first rounds, they kind of rise above the competition, I would say. I don't know if the Pistons are quite ready yet, so I'm going to go with the Knicks. It's just
agree
hard
with
for me to
going
pick
with
the
Knicks.
Pistons right
There's
now.
just too many question marks with the Pistons. I wouldn't be surprised if they win because they are a good team, but they're missing Ivy. They're really never been in the position before.
Yeah.
This is already kind of a win for them, so who knows if they're really going to be able to carry that forward into the playoffs. Cade hasn't really done any. Like, has Cade even been in the play-in before? He hasn't, right? It's just
No,
been
this is
really
his
bad
first.
teams.
This will be his first playoff
Yeah.
appearance.
So I'm predicting really big Cade games, but Knicks in 6, maybe 5.
Yeah, I
It's
would
just
even
like-
say 5. I just think because right now, if you're the Knicks, your strategy should be, okay, anyone but Cade beats us. And I don't
Yeah.
think the Pistons, I don't think there's another guy in the Pistons that can beat them.
Now we're gonna get.
Where-
My prediction is we're gonna get at least one Tobias Harris 30 ball.
Don't tell us.
And they're gonna lose.
Yeah, we'll get a Malik Beasley game where he hits a bunch of threes.
Yeah.
But even then, I think the Knicks, Jalen Brunson's just too clutch down the stretch if the game is close. Cade is very clutch too, but again, the pressure Cade's going to be under in this game from the Knicks defense is going to make it tough. And then you even have Cat, who I think is a complete mismatch on Duren in this series. And that's not because of Duren's physicality, but just because he's
I'm gonna spin a crazy narrative right here. All right,
Okay.
the Knicks this year adding Cat made them made them big game droppers. They're 0-12 against the top teams. In the NBA. They can't.
That's
close
crazy because
games.
Cat just went to the conference finals the year before.
And that's all land. That's all land.
That's all. Yeah.
That's all. Land.
So
They're
that's-
gonna-
they should get
just- that's
back.
why the Wolves are the 6th seed right now.
Yeah.
It's all land. It's all land. Yeah, I have the
But
Knicks too.
I like the Knicks in
I-
the series, and I think
All
it's setting
jokes
up a
aside,
good
I think the
second
Knicks
series.
will pretty easily beat them. The next series is going to be the question for them.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Lakers Wolves, another series that I think is going to be very good. Lakers got a little bailed out this year, I would
I
say.
think this will be good. I agree. I don't think I
But
wanna see
Luka
the
killed the
Warriors.
Wolves last year, so I don't know. What are you
Yes.
thinking? I think it's a bad matchup for the Wolves.
I think it's also a bad matchup for the Wolves. I think Luka is a bad matchup for the Wolves. But at the same time, I think the LeBron matchup is pretty good for the Wolves. Who are they going to have on him? McDaniels?
Is it Randall McDaniels probably? Or is it McDaniels going to be on Luka, you think?
Yeah, probably McDaniels on Luka. They probably get...
actually, I mean, Ant might be guarding Luka, honestly.
Oh, it's probably Ant on Luka. It's definitely Ant on Luka.
He's going to take that challenge.
And he's going to try and force the Luka on the other side. He's going to try and go at him. I think that's one thing. One thing I've been seeing everyone say is that a big reason why the Wolves just got destroyed last year by the Mavericks is they didn't target Luka at all. And that's something the Celtics saw and said, hey, this is obviously something that we could take advantage of. And they did it. They have the personnel to do it better, but they just dog-walked them all finals. So if the Wolves watch the finals and go, oh, shit, we should have done that, and have learned from that, I think there's a real chance here because I don't think the Lakers are that strong defensively. They don't have even the personnel the Mavs did to help cover up Luka. So if they just go attack, Ant's just like dunking on Luka every chance he gets, I think they do have a real chance here. And the Wolves do play well in these situations where they're kind of the underdogs and have to rise up. Like they've done that as well in the past. But to me, it's just too hard to root against Luka. I hate to do it because I hate the Lakers, but I think I'm gonna have to move on.
I'm in the
also
same
have a
boat.
similar problem as the Warriors do, where they have Jackson Hayes, and then it's like, who's their center?
I was going to bring that up.
Gobert
is
can
that
take advantage of that as well.
That's what I was going to say. Is Gobert has always struggled in the past to take advantage of these centers, and has also struggled in the past when the teams go small. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers go small if we see some Dorian Finney-Smith center minutes.
Probably.
Or
that's kind of their only option.
Rui Hachimura center minutes, and just play 5 out, spread the floor, and take Gobert out of the defense. And if you take Gobert out of the defense, the Timberwolves defense is going to crumble. We've seen it before with the Clippers against the Jazz a few years ago, and we saw it last year with the Mavs and the Timberwolves. So I like the Lakers. I think they have the 2 better players in the series as well. We don't know what we're going to get from Randall. He's a question mark. And we know what we're going to get from LeBron and Luka. So I'm going.
I think LeBron and Ant is a wash at this point. Like they're equal. But then they have Luka on top versus Randall, who's way worse. So
yeah, and then you look at the third, and it's like Austin Reeves has been better than anyone else on the Timberwolves as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
I am not going to lie though. Rui Hachimura center sounds fucking atrocious. And
it's horrible.
If they are relying on Rui Hachimura as their backup center to win the championship, they're losing to the Rockets.
I'm gonna guess they're gonna do a little different strategy against Houston.
Yeah, JJ's a smart coach. JJ's a smart coach, but also like they can't really go small against Houston. They can't really go big against Houston. I think Houston. We'll get to it, but I think
we'll get to that. That's gonna be a good series as well, and it's a much better because. Sorry, no, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just agreeing that.
I was gonna say this is matchup based because Lakers Warriors would go a lot different than what we were talking about with Lakers Rockets. Because
I agree.
I actually think the Lakers have it over the Warriors, where the Rockets have
I agree
against the Lakers.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go 4-5 in the East. Pacers, Bucks. So Pacers, this is obviously a rematch of last year. Pacers won last year, but there was no Giannis last year.
That's true.
So
and
there's no Dame this year.
So it's like, it's hard for me to not put the Pacers since they're fully healthy. And like,
let's look at Milwaukee. Let's see who they'll be running out.
It's what? Giannis, Portis, Lopez, Gary Trent,
Torian Prince.
Torian.
See some AJ Green. Ryan Rollins will be starting.
Yeah, no, I kind of have to go with the Pacers.
But
this does change if Dame comes in halfway through, like game 4, and it's like 1-2, and Dame's back. It's like, okay, well now we're cooking. But who knows how he's going to look? Who knows what minutes restrictions he's going to be on? Who knows what medication he's taking for? Oh no, I did see he's off the blood thinners. But still, like, he is going to be taking something because this is a very serious injury that could have ended his career theoretically. There are careers that haven't ended over blood clots.
Yeah.
But it is
Giannis.
One of the biggest question marks. The Bucks are the biggest question mark for these playoffs.
We'll talk about this with Nuggets too, because it is Giannis and it is Jokic, and I think those two are like, look, they can win any series they're a part of. Even if they have no like role players.
But also, if you want to look at Giannis over the past few years in the playoffs, his team just has not been there. at all, and he has the worst team he's had in a long while, I think, without Dame.
Did we get a Kuzma game in the playoffs or no?
Yeah. We get like a... It depends on what you mean by a Kuzma game. We'll get like a 25-point game on like 22 shots.
That sounds bad.
More. It's going to be bad, but it's going to be a game where people are like, wow, Kuzma sure scored a lot there.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the
Pacers. Defense. It's tough. I think I have to have the Pacers go on, but if Dame comes back and they figure it out, then...
Even if Dame comes back, I think he'll come back a little too late. And also, we got to think this is Doc Rivers in a playoff series.
It's true. It's true.
So it's a little harder. Plus, Pacers getting Ben Mathurin back. That's a huge bump in their scoring. Back, I mean, he didn't play in the playoffs last year.
I don't know if it's really going to change much, in my opinion.
He's averaging like 16 points a game this season. Off the bench, which is really
I'm just not sure if he's going to get a ton of playtime because
he'll get 6-man minutes for sure.
Oh, is he the 6-man for them?
Yeah, he's a 6-man.
Oh, okay. I thought
because it's like Halliburton, Nembhard.
Oh, he's starting.
Siakam.
I have not been paying attention.
Nesmith and Turner. Which again, I really like the Pacers' depth. I like the way they play. I think it's going to be tough on we saw it last year. It's going to be tough on these old guys in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee's the Pacers are a bad matchup for Milwaukee. And we'll get to this after, but I think Pacers are going to struggle more to make the conference finals this year than they did last.
When they play against...
They have a pretty hard path, yeah.
All right, now the big one, Nuggets-Clippers. I know for sure we have different opinions on this, because I have the Clippers and I know you have the Nuggets.
I have the Nuggets, for sure.
Talk about the Nuggets a little bit and, like, why.
I mean, the thing to me is this playoff series is Jamal Murray. Jokic is going to bring his 35, 15, and 10. Like, you know what you're going to get out of Jokic, and it's going to be phenomenal, and he's going to boost the rest of the team up. But if Jamal Murray is kind of struggling to find his shot, and it kind of looks like the Wolves series last year, I think they're really going to struggle against some of the defensive plays the Clippers have. It's kind of a big question mark to me, too, because the Clippers guys have all really, really, really improved their scoring this year, and that is something that kind of tends to fall off come playoff time. So this is the test for them. Like, has Norm Powell really unlocked this kind of extra step that people, including me, think he has, or is it something that they had a great scheme in the regular season, and once they're playing one opponent for a prolonged amount of time, that kind of falls apart. And you kind of need that from the Nuggets as well. Like, is Jamal Murray really back? He's looked pretty good this past month or two. Can he sustain that? If they get anything out of Michael Porter Jr., that's a plus at this point. So if they get like a nice 15 points per game out of Michael Porter Jr., I think they're looking pretty good. It's the Clippers' defensive thing to me is tough because the Clippers have a good defense. That's not arguable. They've been great this year. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league at exploiting defenses and figuring out defenses over the course of a series. So I think there is a world where the Nuggets look pretty bad to start. They go down maybe a bit, and then something clicks with Nikola Jokic. He figures out some schemes. He gets his guys in the right spot. But then Ty Lue maybe figures out some things, gets his guys in different spots. It's going to be like a very intangible kind of advantage series, I think, where the team that kind of figures out the fastest is going to be able to win. Because the Clippers do have good offense, and of course this all depends on Kawhi staying healthy. And
that's what I was going to say.
Like Jamal Murray being up there and Kawhi being up there. Like if Kawhi goes down, they lose. If Jamal Murray doesn't play well, they lose. That's kind of it. So and it's a big question mark series. I think it's going 7 no matter who wins. But I personally have the Nuggets. I just believe in Jokic. He's the best player in the world easily right now. It's tough to root against him. Plus, I'd love to see Thunder Nuggets. That would be absolutely
that would be pretty good. There's a few reasons why I'm going Clippers here. One, the Nuggets have struggled with the Timberwolves, and I'm not saying Ivica Zubac is Rudy Gobert, but he's a similar type of big bruising center that he's not going to give Jokic trouble. I'm sorry, nobody has given Jokic trouble. But it's that thing where you can throw him on the island, and it's going to be one of those things where when you take away Jokic's playmaking, we've seen the Wizards do it twice. They usually don't win the game.
That's crazy.
And then
Wizards
you talk about But you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen the
Yeah,
Wizards
yeah,
take
yeah.
away Jokic's playmaking. They won 2 games. We've seen teams do that. If you take away, that's obviously his biggest strength. Because, you know, if he wants to, he can score 50 every night, but that's not necessarily going to make a Nuggets win. I'm thinking James Harden has a pretty free series in this series, and a guy who's been extremely healthy this year. He's been an all-NBA player, and I just don't see either of the Nuggets guards that they throw out there really giving him any trouble on the perimeter, and that's going to open up so much for the rest of this team. Kawhi and Jokic are not similar players, but what Kawhi needs to do for this team, he's going to match what Jokic needs to do for the Nuggets, if that makes sense. Because we know Kawhi, when he's healthy, has been a consistent force in the playoffs, and I'm going to count on that continuing, again, bearing health. And then you have bearing health, like that's everything.
Every Clippers year since 2019.
No, for real. But the way, like, because you were like, if Jamal Murray has a good series, then they're going to win, and I kind of agree with that. I think it's more if Jamal Murray has a good series, it's still kind of close, but if Jamal Murray has a bad series, I think the Clippers will win. Where we talk about Norm Powell, if he has a bad series, I don't think it matters as much, because you still have James Harden, you still have Zubac, you still have Kawhi who can kind of pick up, you still have Bogdan who can kind of pick up. We've seen Derrick Jones Jr. elevate his game in the playoffs. I'm interested to see what Chris Dunn does, because he'll probably have the Murray assignment most of the time. Or we'll see, like, Derrick Jones Jr. I think the Clippers just have so much more to throw at the Nuggets, where it's going to be hard for the Nuggets to really be the consistent force, and especially Jamal Murray and Michael Porter, that they need to be in order to win this series. But then again, you also have the Nuggets having home court advantage, which I think is really big in Denver, especially when you're playing guys in LA who are 35, 33, 31,
That's a big thing that
32.
I want to bring up too. It's like, are they going to perform as well as they have in the past? Can their bodies stand up in a 7-game series? And that's
we might see a
where
Bones
the
Highland
rest gets a bit
series.
of the rest comes into factor. But at the same time, I think a lot of those arguments that you're making for the Clippers can be applied to the Nuggets as well. Like, you're just kind of like, oh, Harden's going to play well. That's not a constant.
I think it's more likely Harden plays well against these guards than Jamal Murray does, just because Harden's history, Harden's played this season. It's just the defensive pressure that the Nuggets can put on him. It's just tough.
It's tough, for sure, but at the same time, when has Harden ever consistently played well in the playoffs?
Hasn't he been pretty consistent every year?
No. Not with Philly, not with the Nets, not with... Like, that's a big thing. It's like, you know, we do have to look at these historical trends, and one of the historical trends is Jamal Murray bumps his points per game by, like, 10 points in the playoffs. Michael Porter Jr., like, tends to play better in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. I think the Nuggets, the biggest thing to me that's a kind of pain point for the Nuggets is defense, for sure. But I don't think the Clippers' offense is as good as the Nuggets' offense is. I think James Harden is going to be a big liability on defense. I don't think they're going to be able to hide him as well as they've been able to hide him against other teams. Jokic is going to find the guy in Harden, whether it be Brown or Murray. That's a mismatch on either side. I think you're kind of underrating Christian Brown's defense. I think I'm more...
I think Christian Brown's a great defender. I just think Harden is still this dynamic offensive threat for the Clippers that it's...
Yeah, but
it's hard to say Christian Brown being a good defender is going to... I don't know.
But he was shut down in the Philly series by Boston, who...
he scored 45
in one game, 2 games, sure, but then he
averaged 22 points, 8 assists in the series. I wouldn't say that's getting shut down. I would more say that Joel Embiid just didn't show up at all.
Yes,
I will say he only shot 35%.
That's 22 points with scoring 40 plus. I think he scored 50 in 2 games. So there's other 5 games.
I'm pretty sure Philly would have won that series if Embiid did like anything that series.
Well, yeah, but I think it's
obviously he didn't.
Yeah, no, but it's also a different situation. James Harden isn't going to be taking every single shot.
No, but you have Kawhi, you have Bo. Like, they have so many different options on offense that the Nuggets don't quite have right now.
But the Nuggets don't need to have more than 6-7 players because they're going to play 42 minutes a game.
But it's more different looks. Like, the Clippers know what's coming. Not that anyone's been able to stop it in the past, but, you know, it's been a few years now where it's like, okay, we're going to see the Murray Jokic pick and roll in the clutch. The Clippers, I mean, you could see, Harden ISO, you could see Kawhi ISO, you could see Harden Zubac pick and roll, you could see Kawhi Zubac pick and roll, you could see Norman Powell take ball handling duties. It's just they have so many different options when it gets down to the wire, and I don't know if the Nuggets defense is capable of handling that.
I do think that's a little disingenuous. The Nuggets aren't going to play the same thing every time. You are probably going to see a lot of Jamal Murray, Jokic pick and roll towards the end, but the rest of the game, it's Jokic he can do pick and roll with every single person on the floor. He can find ISOs with mismatches. Like that's the thing to me, is that Jokic was able to solve these defenses in ways that I don't think the Clippers have shown that they're able to do. And at the same time, I don't know if the Clippers offense matters as much as, to me, the Nuggets win this by outscoring the Clippers.
And I don't know if they can do that. I agree with you that that's the way they'll win, but I just don't know if the Nuggets defense is good enough to do that.
I think you're underrating. The Nuggets they had a top 15 defense in the league this year. It's not. You're not looking at Luka
I don't know.
Doncic
I'm looking at
defense.
Opponents' points per game was 25th out of 30th. Defensive rating was 22nd out of 30th. I don't. It's just the defense is just not there. And I'm one of those people that I actually think Jokic is way better of a defender than people make him out to be.
Yeah, for sure. He's kind of. Oh yeah. They're not amazing on defense, but also at the same time, a big thing about that. Another point I'm going to bring up. They were missing. They're missing Aaron Gordon for half the games, and he is the focal point of that defense.
Yeah,
I think.
Which is fair, but he'll have Kawhi duties most likely. Which again, he leaves the other guys.
To me, it just sounds like 2022, 2023, when all I heard was, they can't stop KD. There's no way they can stop Booker. There's no way they can stop Aidan. It didn't matter. They just outscored them.
That is fair. The difference between that is that the Suns' defense, I'll double check, was not as good. In which case, the Nuggets could outscore them a lot easier. But the thing that pushes me over the edge to the Clippers, where if the Clippers, let's say their defensive rating was around 10, or they weren't showing it as much, or they didn't have Zubac, or one of these other things, I would say yes, the Nuggets can outscore them and they'll win. But because the Clippers defense has been so solid all season, it's just hard for me to think that it's suddenly going to fall apart.
I don't know. I think you're kind of not giving enough credit to Jokic, where it's not going to suddenly fall apart. Jokic is going to methodically figure it out over the course of 2 or 3 playoff games. That's happened every single series he's played. Even the Wolves.
And I think that will happen. I still don't think it'll be enough.
You mentioned, they struggle with the Wolves. They've lost 1 playoff series in the last 5 years to the Wolves in a series where Jamal Murray struggled to put the ball in the hoop. And that's why, if Jamal Murray can put the ball in the hoop, I think that, a lot of these things you're bringing up are also points for the Wolves last year, and the Wolves did end up winning. I'm not going to act like the Clippers can't win or anything. But either team could have won that series. I do think either team can win this series, because I don't think the Clippers are the best defensive team in the league. I don't think they're close to the best defensive team in the league.
No.
And I think there's a lot of exploitable points that they can take advantage of. Zubac can't guard the perimeter very well. There's issues with Jokic drawing him out and then passing over to Aaron Gordon, who's taking advantage of who he's on. I think pretty much everybody they can put on Aaron Gordon is a bit of a mismatch besides Kawhi, and I'm not sure if you want him on Kawhi or want Kawhi on him, because Kawhi's a bit better of a perimeter defender. He's a great all-around defender, so I think it would work well, but I think you'd rather be able, because with Aaron Gordon, a good thing to stop him is you just stick a big body on him. That's why the Wolves were so able to shut him down. Kawhi is strong, he's big, but he's not a big guy, and I think in a perfect world, I'd rather have, maybe they do put Zubac on him and have Kawhi on Michael Porter Jr. Just completely shut him down.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. I'm bringing up, they did lose the Nuggets by 30 points in the regular season.
I think it was 2-2.
They split the series with the Nuggets, and both games the Nuggets won were blowouts. Both games the Clippers won were very close.
I'm curious. I wonder if Kawhi played in those games.
My thing is, he played in some of them, I think.
Some of them, okay. Should we flip a coin? Because we are at 40 minutes.
You can have the Clippers, because I want to do a victory lap if the Nuggets win. So
okay.
for the narrative, you can put the Clippers.
Also, I think last
record,
time
I think the Clippers win.
I think last season we had a similar thing where we didn't agree, and then we went with your team. So this is just
there we go.
What are you doing? And I'm not going to point out, I don't think the Nuggets have no chance. I think this is going 7, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think the Nuggets could very well win in 7, especially in Denver. So it's like arbitrary. Like, I personally think the Clippers will pull it out in 7. If the Nuggets pull it out in 7, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is a crazy shot.
Oh, but hey, if the Nuggets win, you better believe I'm gonna come to the podcast like you did. And then if the Clippers win, we'd be like, well, we had them.
Yeah, we had them.
I agreed.
All right, we are at 40 minutes, so let's try to go, I guess, a little faster for these next 2 rounds.
That's half of our playoff series already done with.
Yeah, so we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's go Cavs Pacers. I like Cleveland in this series.
Cleveland
I've liked them to go to the conference finals all season.
Yeah, I think they have
an
easier path than the other side for sure. Because I think the Pacers matchup is really bad for the Pacers Cavs. The Pacers can't. I don't think they're going to be able to play at the same pace that they want to. Because Cleveland has such good defenders, they're just going to be controlling the pace of the game, slowing everything down. And when the game's slower, the Cavs have the advantage. And I think the Cavs have more dynamic offensive scorers, where the Pacers have really good offensive players, but the Cavs have more offensive variety.
They have the best player in the series, in my opinion, Donovan Mitchell.
I think they have the best 2 players in the series, with Donovan Mitchell and Garland. But
or even Evan Mobley.
I've been a bit of, not of a hater, but I've downplayed Halliburton a lot. I still think he can be replaced by almost any point guard in the league, and it kind of looks the same.
The Cavs just match up so well with every team in the East, and it's hard. Like, even if the Pacers play their game, I think the Cavs can also play the Pacers game and come out on top. It's just such an advantage, and the Cavs 3-point shooting, and this will be the X factor in pretty much every playoff series, but especially when they play the Celtics in the spoiler in the conference finals.
I was gonna bring it.
It will be. The Cavs 3-point shooting is so good, and that's the reason they were the number 1 seed, that it's really hard to stick with them when they're shooting lights out, which they do a lot. And that's going to win them a lot of playoff games this year.
Yes, but also at the same time, I think that's the Celtics. That's more a ball in the Celtics.
That's why it's going to be. That's why it's going to be a good series.
Yes, for sure. But I think the Celtics' advantage is that they're really good at perimeter defense, and I think the Cavs have good perimeter defense. It's just like when your defensive anchor's the center, it's going to be a little tough always, and Mobley's not amazing outside. He's much, much better by the rim, of course.
Before we talk about that, let's talk about Celtics Knicks, just so we know. Just because the Knicks have not beat a top team at all this entire year.
Nope.
And I really don't think that will continue. It could, but they just got a bad draw. I think if they played the Cavs in the second round, series, a different story. But the Celtics are just so experienced in these playoff moments. And they have so many options.
Every time they've played this series, the Celtics have... It's been pretty close, and then the Celtics, by the end of the game, are just like, okay, well, we'll do our game plan that you just can't do. And, like, we have the personnel to... It may be a bit of glaze, but it's just like, hey, we'll just drag you out to the perimeter, we'll drive and kick constantly, and it's similar to what the Cavs are doing, but I do think the Cavs are kind of looking what the Celtics are doing as a bit of, not a blueprint, not inspiration, but, like, here's proof that this could work. And I just think the Celtics are much better built for it. Like, I'd rather have Porzingis taking threes than Mobley. I think Porzingis is going to struggle to stop Mobley, but Mobley's not a player that takes advantage of that a lot, like Gobert.
Wait, we're talking about the Knicks, though. We're talking about Cat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I think Cat, Porzingis is a wash, and neither can guard each other. We've seen that. They both score 30 every time they play each other. I just don't think the Knicks... I think everything the Knicks do, the Celtics do better, along with better depth, like, overall.
Yeah,
because
it's the classic...
The Knicks might have better 1 through... Like, the Knicks might have better 8 through 12, but I think the Celtics are just going to play 1 through 8, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a classic thing where it's like when the Celtics play teams that their best player is a guard, it's just so tough for that guard to get going because they get like so many different defensive looks thrown on them.
Yes.
And Jalen Brunson's going to get a lot of that as well. Now, I think Jalen Brunson can deal with it. I think he's the type of player that can.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be so hard to match the Celtics, and we're going to see spurts where the Celtics just hit 3 or 4 threes in a row. Mm-hmm. Yep. Knicks are a slow team as well, so I don't know.
The Celtics play with pace for sure. I think we'll definitely see Brunson do well. He might struggle in some games, but I think overall he'll do well. The problem to me is the guys like the Josh Harts, like the supplementary guys they need to step up and who they need more from, it's harder to see versus a guy like Derek White and Drew Holiday.
Yeah, and that's, again, what we talk about constantly is which team is more likely to have the things go their way. And you need stuff for the Knicks to win this series that happens way less than the stuff you need for the Celtics to win.
Yes.
So
plus,
just with the odds, it's like
every time they've played, even missing key players for the Celtics, there has been moments where you just look at the Celtics and they clearly turn it on and just pull away. And the Knicks just can't figure out how to do that this year. I don't know if it's adding Cat kind of late in the off season. I don't know if they're just not.
It's just their pace.
Their
pace is very slow. But again, they're very. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the Celtics win. I think the Knicks could win, but I do think it would take an injury or two.
Yeah, and once we get to these Final Four on both sides, I think it's more likely that any team can win. Like, I really don't think the Hawks or Heat stand a chance.
No.
Same with the Magic. But once we get to the Knicks, it's like this could go either way. It's just more likely that Celtics, and same with Pacers, Cavs. Like the Pacers could very well come out.
Or Pacers, Bucks.
Punch them in the mouth. Yeah, Pacers, Bucks too. But I think the Cavs have just been so good this year. Yeah. Let's move on to the West. Thunder, Clippers. Thunder have just been the best team in the NBA.
Yeah,
by
to me it's
so much.
No matter who comes out of Thunder Nuggets, Clippers Nuggets, I have Thunder.
Yeah, because
I don't think it really matters who it is. I think it's just kind of they're just gonna dog walk them. But also at the same time, I kind of felt that way last year, and Luka pretty much exposed them. So it's like
I think Thunder Nuggets would be a better matchup for the Nuggets than the Clippers.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers were coming off of what I'm expecting to be a grueling 7-game series.
Yeah.
You have there's gonna be an injury. It's the Clippers, and they're gonna be going into the series banged up, tired. They just played 7 games in Denver. I think the Thunder got it, and the Thunder just match up so well. Like it's so hard to guard SGA, and I'm going to say, unlike the Nuggets, there's so many other options the Thunder can go to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Nuggets, to me, like, this is not a bad thing, I want to preface by saying. I do think, with the Celtics, they have the closest to what can be called a super team in the NBA. And it's homegrown.
The Thunder?
Yeah. But mostly homegrown, besides Caruso and Hardenstein, who are pretty big additions, I think. And there is also a lot of pressure on them. Shea's won 1 playoff series in his whole career. He's going to be an MVP. You have guys like, or there's the narrative sticking with them. There's this kind of like, it's kind of similar with the Celtics, where this is not a super sustainable team. They're not going to be able to keep the same roster long term.
We've already seen it. They had to give up Giddey.
Yep, they had to give up Giddey. I don't know how long Caruso's going to be here. I don't know how long
Lou
Hardenstein's
Dort
going to be
could
here.
be on the move.
Those guys are all luxuries. So if anything, I think this is definitely their best chance to win. And I think they have the best team in the West, like personnel-wise. But the playoffs aren't played on personnel. You're going to have to execute. And I do think I think Shea can execute 100%. The rest of the guys, to me, is more of a question mark. J-Dub had a pretty good playoffs last year, but he was kind of neutralized in the Mavs series, and they aren't facing Luka as early on, but I think both the Nuggets and the Clippers do have the personnel to match up with them. But I do still have them moving on.
I think if the Clippers or Nuggets just dominate their series, we're talking a different tune here, because now we're fully rested. But just coming off like the 7-game series just makes it so tough. The Thunder are going to come out hot, they're going to come out fast, and the Clippers in this case are going to be on the back seat, and it's going to be tough for them to really like claw back in it, which they'll have to do. And again, Thunder, so many threats. I mean, you're going to see the Thunder win, I think, multiple playoff games just based off role player performances.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you're not going to see that from a lot of other teams.
Celtics is the most play-by-committee team.
Yeah, Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder, which is shocking. They're in our conference finals. I think are the 3.
I think so too.
Rockets, Lakers.
Rockets, Lakers. This is an interesting one. Like we said,
First
I think
impressions
this
for
is
me
very
is
different if the Warriors are moving on. But just the Rockets, I just think size-wise, they're just way bigger overall.
Yeah.
And I think if they want to, they can match small ball. They can take it big. They can do kind of whatever they want. Like, scheme-wise, which is a big plus, where the Lakers are much more limited. It's going to be Luka ISO, it's going to be LeBron ISO, it's going to be kick out to Rui for a corner three, it's going to be Austin Reeves like taking threes. And I do think they have better personnel for Austin Reeves than the Warriors or the Wolves do. I think it's probably going to be a man on Luka
Amen Thompson. You got. I mean, the same thing. It's the same similar situation with the Warriors, where you have the 2 stars, but the Rockets can really put pressure on those 2 stars.
But also at the same time, this is where experience comes into play as the second.
Yes, that's what I was.
And the Rockets are extremely young and inexperienced.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Sengun has a bad series. I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Green has a bad series. And this all takes place with the Warriors as well. Like, these guys could have bad series.
I kind of would be surprised if Sengun had a bad series overall. I think he's
I
definitely.
mean, I would be very surprised if he has a bad series against the Lakers, but it's the inexperience factor, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Lights could be too bright. We've never seen Sengun in the playoffs, so this is basing all off what he's doing in the regular season. But there's been a lot of players that shrink come playoff time. So. And
I think that goes for a lot of teams. We're like, this is the regular season performances we're basing everything off, but who knows if. Like, we can't base it off of hypothetical playoff rising or dropping because that's impossible. But that's just the reality. There are multiple teams every year that drop and rise based on the regular season performance. So we might look like fools for this eventually because the Warriors stomp,
the Rockets lose,
the Wolves and the Wolves like squeeze it out against the Lakers. So it's like, you know, this is especially in the West this year. This is the most. Like the hardest year to predict, I think, and it's been that way increasingly every year since like 2020.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Last year, I think we had the Suns taking out the Wolves in the first round because the Suns forwarded them during the season, and then obviously the Wolves swept them. So you know, it's impossible to predict. Besides Cavs Celtics conference finals.
Yes, I think that is pretty much a guarantee.
So do we want to go with the Rockets then? I'm kind of feeling going with the Rockets. I know Luka, playoff Luka, but.
Fuck it. I don't want to have the Lakers go to conference finals.
It'd be kind of crazy.
And the Lakers already got the karma. They made the conference finals when I think they shouldn't have, so now they're not going to make it when maybe they should have. That's the meta. That's the meta of the NBA.
We're being boring 1-2 in each conference.
Oh yeah, shit. We are being boring. I didn't even notice.
It's not that boring though because it's all most people have the Rockets losing in the first round. So I don't know if it's that crazy.
No, I think it looks more boring because it's 1-2, but I think the Rockets that's a pretty hot take. I think having them make the conference finals. I'm
glad the Rockets are back good.
Me too. I don't like Texas teams that often. But the Rockets I liked James Harden when he was on that team and everyone else hated him. I was a fan. And I would like to see them have success. They kind of got screwed over by the Warriors for years, so it'd be nice to have them do well. And I liked their tank. They did it well.
Yeah, once they hired Ime. Now we can go to Cavs Celtics. So in the last series they played was 2-1 Boston, and then Mitchell went down, and then from there it was a wash. So obviously the Cavs are a lot better this year, and I think the series will be a lot closer again. We're talking Mitchell going down. That could very well happen again this year, but I think we're looking at a 6 or 7 game series in the 1-2.
I could see it. It's tough for me to predict because the Celtics haven't really looked serious all year.
That's the thing.
Like, do the Celtics have a second gear they can turn up to and that we haven't really seen from them outside of like closing out games? Maybe. But again, we can't really bank on that. I think it's going to be a close series too. I think it's going to be tough. Like you said, this is a team who rely on 2 ball-dominant guards, and that's where Drew Holiday and Derek White step in. I think Peyton Pritchard and Ty Jerome is pretty close. I think their depth is pretty similar. They have Sam Hauser coming.
It's just a very even team. Like these two teams are so even with each other.
My thing is though, like who's the equivalent of Tatum on the other side? Is it DeAndre Hunter?
It's probably Donovan Mitchell, right?
Brown?
Like you have.
Well, no, I'm saying like who's
you're saying like the matchup?
Forward? Yeah.
Isaac Okoro, according to the Cavs.
Yeah, exactly. Like that to me is like if they lose the series, it's going to be because of taking advantage of guys like Isaac Okoro, who, you know, like the Celtics. The thing about the Celtics to me is
but probably DeAndre Hunter.
They have 5 All-Star candidates on their team starting.
I don't know anymore. I don't think Drew Holiday.
You don't think
can
so?
really put in that category anymore. Maybe in the playoffs.
I disagree.
Like I said, I don't know.
I don't agree. He's been pretty injured this year, so it's like it's tough to take into account what he's been doing.
But then you could also say maybe not 5, but you could say 4 on the Cavs side because you got Donovan Mitchell.
No,
Darius
I definitely
Garland,
agree. Four on the Cavs side.
And
sure.
the Cavs are one of the few teams. I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but especially maybe the only team that when you have Porzingis in the lineup for the Celtics, they actually have someone who could match up and move with him, and that's Evan Mobley.
Yes, but I think Porzingis is going to be drawing Evan Mobley out to the perimeter a lot, and
I think that's fine. I think Evan Mobley can still help off that, but it'll be tough to help off Porzingis. But you can't help off anyone on Boston. But you also can't help off anyone off Cleveland because Jared Allen's not going to be sitting on the 3-point line.
No, for sure. And it's like, can Jaylen Brown or Tatum guard Jared Allen, which I think they can. To me, it's just like the X factor is going to be the stars, of course, and I think the path for Jaylen Brown and Tatum is way easier than the path.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Garland,
Mitchell and Garland.
Yeah.
But I will say I've liked Mitchell for a while. I think he has a lot of playoff experience now with Utah and now with Cleveland. I think if there's a year for Mitchell to ascend to that, oh shit, this guy can be the first option on a championship team, it's this year. And it's going to be in this series where he does it if that happens. And I believe he can, but I'm still am leaning Celtics in this series.
Yeah.
With that.
That's the problem with the double guards to me, double guard stars. It's kind of what you saw from Luka and Kyrie is like you can get a game or two of like super good efficiency on both of them.
They went to the finals.
Going insane. They did, yeah. No, I'm not saying that's bad. But they did get dog walked by the Celtics, who completely eliminated Kyrie out of the matchup. And I think the thing with the two
Mitchell did really well against the Celtics. He has last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think if he's doing really well, it's taking opportunities away from Garland. That's just a fact. That's how it goes. So
one thing we also didn't talk about, even in the last series, because you mentioned Garland, is Garland hasn't been a playoff riser.
No, he's not.
It's been quite the opposite. Now that could change this year, obviously. But he hasn't been super consistent in big games.
Yeah, and I know it doesn't mean much, but the Celtics drew even in the series matchup, so I do think it's going to be very close. I think if both teams are healthy, we're going to get a slugfest, and I really hope both teams can make it here healthy because I think they're clearly the best two teams in the East. The big question mark for me with injuries too is, can Porzingis keep up? Can Horford keep up the whole time? But also at the same time, can Mitchell keep up? Can he not get injured?
Can, but
he's kind of had a history of playoff injuries and like having last year was. I think it's going to be close for sure, and I think the Cavs can definitely win.
Should we go crazy and pick Cavs?
We can go Cavs. I just think
it's too. I'm going Boston.
Yeah,
I think it's
to me it's just Celtics Thunder. It's like.
Well, let's get crazy and pick the Rockets. We got them this far. The Rockets. I want to see the Rockets.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, the Rockets match up actually pretty well with the Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they've beaten the Thunder a lot this year. I want to double check. So
I'll check on that.
It is 3-2 Thunder. So I guess not a lot, but
not a lot. 3-2? That's not possible.
Yeah, they played 5 times, I guess, with the Cup.
Oh, with the Cup. True. Okay. Yeah, I mean, being
so 2-2 in regular season play.
I have concerns about the Rockets' consistent offense. Being realistic, but
yeah, every game was great too.
Yeah, no, for sure. This would be a great series if we get it, and I do think there is a bit of that on the Thunder side as well, where Shea's going to score really well, and from there it's like J-Dub is good, but he hasn't done that in the playoffs before. Really, this is a time where none of these players have been here before. At all.
Well, besides
Caruso. Well, I'm talking about for the Thunder.
Oh, you're talking about the Thunder.
But besides Caruso, he's the only player who's been here before. And it's like, this is where the nerves start to set in, and that would be a factor for both of these teams, and it's just whoever gets over that more. But I think the Thunder are going to win, but I think it'd be fun to have the Rockets winning, because I do see a path for the Rockets. I think they match up pretty well against the Thunder. I think the Thunder do have some tough matchups in the West.
The funny thing is, I think if the Lakers beat the Rockets and we had the Lakers, I think we would have the Lakers moving on to the finals.
I think so too.
Just based, like you said, with the nerves and LeBron and
And
Luka, historically good against the Thunder. But the Lakers lost. So.
And also, it's tough for me because the defense isn't there, where the Mavs were able to stop some of those big guys last year. Like Gafford and Lively were really good on defensive end. But also that might just be Chet isn't really a good offensive player yet. He's young. He's been injured a lot. He's really good on defense. He's figuring it out on offense for sure this year. But playoffs are different, and they do have Hartenstein, which helps. But Hartenstein's never been in this position before either, and I think the Rockets don't really give a shit about Hartenstein because they also have the depth where they're like, okay, you have Hartenstein, well, we also can just trot out Jabari Smith as our backup center and like go.
And throw him in the corner. And you got to go on the perimeter.
Yeah,
which Hartenstein have done in the past. But.
The Thunder have like one way of playing, which is very successful. Obviously, they're the best team in the league for a reason. But the Celtics have one way of playing too. But I think the Rockets have a lot more variety of ways they can play. I'm just not sure if that matters at this point. Yeah.
So we going with the Thunder or Rockets? I moved the Thunder up. I said let's not overthink it. They won 68 games on the year. Like all the points, the Rockets absolutely a threat. But we're not going to do the 2018 finals that everyone wanted.
No, if we're being realistic, I'm pretty sure it's the Thunder, like pretty easily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I thought that last year. We had the Thunder in the finals last year, I think.
Oh, we had the Nuggets.
We had them in the
We had the Nuggets winning.
We had them in the conference finals, which I think that I would be curious. Obviously, revisionist history. If they were able to beat the Wolves, that would have been a great series against the Mavs. But I think
they lost to the
last
Mavs.
year.
You're thinking of the other way. Oh wait,
last year. No, I'm not thinking the other way. What are you thinking of? When did the Nuggets?
The Thunder lost to the Mavericks.
I know, and I'm saying if the Nuggets beat the Wolves and made the
I see.
the Mavs, or it would have been tough because the Mavs beat them in the second round. But yeah, I think it's OKC's time. I honestly think they're going to win it all this year.
I think it's...
But I do think they're under a lot of pressure to win it all, and I think this could be similar to the Celtics in 2022, where they get there and they're like, shit.
They're under a lot of pressure.
What is going on? We're under so much pressure. We've never even made the conference finals. Like, holy shit, Boston is crazy. We've never played in a playoff series in Boston.
And now you're going against what would be the most playoff experienced team you faced up
in the
to
league.
This point.
I think in the league. Who's more playoff?
Yeah,
Tatum is the top. I think
LeBron and Luka.
Tatum has the most points in the playoffs for someone under 26 or under 27. Period.
Well, I'm just talking about just in general. LeBron has the most playoff experience in the league.
But if you're taking all the players, the Lakers have less playoff experience than the Celtics do. I think.
I guess you still got a lot of dudes with playoff experience. It doesn't matter, honestly.
No, it doesn't matter. But
either way,
because even Luka doesn't have that much playoff experience. He's missed the playoffs a few times. And Tatum has never missed the playoffs.
I kind of agree with you, though. I think these teams are very even. Again, like obviously, once you get to this point, it's unless you have like a Celtics Mavs matchup where these two teams match up really well against each other. Mm-hmm. And I do think that the deciding factor will be coaching and experience. And in this case, the Celtics have more experience in both categories.
Yeah. And
I think you're right. Like we're gonna see, it's a really good Thunder team. It's a really good, but they're gonna be under a lot of pressure right now to win, and I think the Celtics are going to take advantage of that. I hate having a back-to-back champions 2 years in a row predicting it, but
we predicted the Nuggets last year. To be fair, pretty sure.
Which again, would have been back-to-back.
Oh yeah,
champions.
Yeah. No, that's probably why we didn't do it. But yeah, I mean, I think just realistically seeing them get there, there's so many parallels to Golden State.
Yeah,
that Golden State Boston.
Which is funny because the Celtics are on both sides of that, and I do think the Thunder, like the Celtics, will get one eventually, assuming they don't blow everything up.
For sure.
But I think you're right. I think the Celtics' experience is what trumps them. I do think this will be a better finals matchup than we have in the past.
Oh yeah, I think if this is the finals and we get everyone healthy, I think it's going to be the best finals matchup since probably Bucks Suns.
Warriors Celtics I think was really
that was a good one. That was a really good one.
But definitely in a few years.
Yeah.
So All right, and we have the Wizards winning it all. So.
Yep. Unfortunately, the Celtics will be losing in the real championship to the Washington Wizards. Congratulations to the Washington Wizards for being the 2024-2025 NBA champions. Hopefully, we can add Cooper Flag to the mix and back-to-back repeat.
Yeah, that's the GOAT. All right, Gafford, take us out.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy DG. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Nothing major. We hitting the wizard bed tonight, baby. Let's get it, Gafford out.